Good morning, beautiful people. How are you? Hope everyone is doing well. Had a few minutes to spare here, so I thought I would do a reading for us. The semester has started. So I am working on trying to get my schedule, not memorized, but a habit, I guess you could say. So this semester, the summer semester is only 13 weeks instead of 15, so they kind of cram a little more education or academics into a shorter amount of time, which means that there's a lot more work to do. So instead of 5 classes, I'm only taking 3, hoping to keep my momentum going, but we'll see. We are not taking as many human services classes this time, but that's cool. I'm taking a math class, so wish me luck. I'm pretty good at math, but it's been, I don't know, a lifetime since I had to do math at school. So with that, so think about that, like from your perspective, guys. Lifetimes go by, and I say lifetimes, really, it's seasons, right? So we were talking about this recently in my meetup that we created. Actually, we started yesterday. We were talking about how what's important to you at the age of 20 is not what's important to you at the age of 40, and is definitely not what's important to you at the age of 60. So, seasons of our lives, things change. You know, we learn, we grow, there's things that you gain as a result of life experience that there's no other way to get. And a lot of times us older people are trying to give younger people, not you, but younger people, the wisdom that we have. We can give you the knowledge, but we can't give you the wisdom. We can't put it into practice for you. And you, as children or younger people, are not necessarily going to receive that because you haven't experienced it. So there's no basis on which to prove your theory. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, that came out of left field. So anyway, yeah, let's get a reading for today. Spirit, source, God, creator, universe. Can I get the energies for today? Energies for today. Okay, well, that one wanted to fall. Judgment in reverse. So judgment is the last card before the world. It is kind of like, let's see, how do I want to put this? Kind of like the, it's the phoenix rising out of the ashes, right? So you've been through this whole journey of the major arcana, and you're getting to this last spot, right? When you think, I don't know, it's over, it's done, it's whatever. Then you rise up as this new person, right? The seasons, right? You're 20, you're 40, you're 60, and you rise up, and there's death and destruction of the old you, but there is a birthing of the new you, right before the cycle ends, and then you start the journey all over again. But we've got this in reverse. So I feel like it's you maybe trying to hang on to that old self, not wanting to change, not wanting to, excuse me, not wanting to end those cycles. But really, guys, doing that is judging yourself, right? It's saying that you are either good enough the way you are and don't need to change. That's a judgment. Judgment doesn't always have to be bad. Or you're so bad that you can't change. Either way, this is a lack of clarity, a lack of understanding that cycles happen, right? You think about time as infinite, right? Time as an infinity symbol. It has to circle back around on itself, because if it was linear, it would end at some point, right? It could never be infinite. It has to make a circle, if you will. So this is being stuck in the trap of that circle and not growing, not expanding, like the Fibonacci sequence, right? You have that spiral that expands every time it comes back around. And this is not expanding. This is being stuck in that circle, right? And not letting it go around. So a lot of times this can happen when we get comfortable, right? Because growth requires discomfort. If people weren't uncomfortable, they wouldn't change. So if you're too comfortable in your situation, then you're going to stay in that repeating pattern, and maybe that's what you want, and there's nothing wrong with that, guys. There's really nothing wrong with that. Some people, are that's maybe, I don't know, think about maybe, I don't know, Jeff Bezos, right? He's a bazillionaire. He doesn't want to necessarily change anything the way I don't know him. Maybe he does. Who knows? All I'm saying is there are people in the world who are very content and comfortable to stay in the same patterns and stay in the same level of growth that they are currently in. And that is okay. For me personally, I'm not a fan of that. I like the change, which is very odd for me because I'm a Taurus, and Taurus generally don't like change. But I like change to be slow. I like to enjoy it as it's happening. So that's me. That leaves me vulnerable to this, right? To not changing if I change too slowly. But either way, so that's where we're at. Can you tell me more about this Judgment? That's Mushu in the background. I got Mushu. I'm dog sitting. Those fell in a clump, and they fell face down, so we will not take them. These cards are sticky today. It's getting hot here in Albuquerque, so there we go. 10 of Cups in reverse. So, yeah, you're stalling your own happiness. You're stalling your own nurturing energy, that feminine energy, halting your travel, and deceiving yourself in the process. So, wow. I mean, that tells quite a story here, guys. I'm going to set these cards down because I think we have enough. But, when you don't change, you don't change. There's a saying, when people have anxiety, that they catastrophize, right? That they are looking at things for how bad can it get and can I survive it? And this is this energy, right? How bad can it get? 10 of Cups is how good can it get? Ask yourself, guys, how good can it get, right? That happy life, happy family, happy children, happy spouse, happy everything. Instead of thinking what could go wrong, ask yourself what could go right, because we're stuck in this paradox of creating, maybe not a paradox, but we're stuck in this mindset of always focusing on what's bad. And when we focus on what's bad, that's what we bring, right? It's not about protecting yourself from the bad by preparing for it. There's a saying, what is it? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I disagree. I say hope for the best, prepare for the best. Why even have the worst in there, right? Why even have that as a consideration? You know that you've already survived 100% of the bad things in your life. Why would you doubt that you could survive any more? Right? Some of us have survived horrific things, some of us not so much, but we have already survived it. We're here to tell the story. So why are we continuing to consider what bad things could happen? We know we can survive it. Why even look at it? Why even consider it? Right? Then we have the Empress in reverse. The Empress is that nurturing, divine, feminine energy. And this is saying that we are lacking in that. We're lacking that receptive energy. We're lacking that sit back and let people learn their lessons, right? Ultimately, this is maybe depending too much on other people. It's a little codependent, right? It's my happiness depends on your happiness. Kind of like this. Like if she's not happy, he's not happy. If he's not happy, she's not happy. That's not the case. What happens is you have to be happy with yourself and come together to make more happiness, right? So you cannot find your happiness. You cannot find your new beginning. You cannot find your happily ever after in someone else. It comes from you. And we are needing to learn that. We're needing to remember that in some ways, right? Because this is keeping us stuck. Our travel, our movement, our growth is stagnated with all of this energy, right? When we put our eggs in someone else's basket, we have no control. We can't grow. We can't move. We can't. I just see travel with this, guys. I don't know, but I see children and an adult, and swords are thoughts and words, right? So the thoughts and words are almost creating this little wave down here. The thoughts and words are going to tip this, it's going to capsize the boat, if you will. So it's going to turn things upside down, and things aren't going to be the way they're meant to be. They're not going to flow, right? You're fighting against the current. And in fighting against the current, making sure that other people are responsible for your happiness and you're responsible for other people's happiness, you're stagnating. You know, you're not ending this cycle. You are not, and you are deceiving yourself if you think that that's growth. Period, end of story. Like, you are literally deceiving yourself. You are being manipulated by yourself. You're gaslighting yourself into believing that your happiness comes from outside of you. Guys, growth, if you think about growth starts with a seed, right? A tree, and it grows from the inside out. Like, if you plant an apple tree, you plant that seed, the apple is the last thing to grow, right? Everything else has to grow first. The trunk and the leaves and the branches, and then the apples come last. When you make something, right, you make it from the outside in, right? Think about an apple pie. You put the shell down, right? And then you put the filling in, and then you bake it. So you're working from the outside in. They say monsters are made, not born, right? Monsters are created from the outside in. It's their outside influences. It's the outside world that creates that inside, because they're allowing it that way. They're not growing, right? And I'm not saying that this is a choice. I'm not saying that people choose this, because I understand this probably happens in childhood and you're not really given a choice. But people, for the most part, their growth starts from the inside and works its way out. And that's the sustainable change. That's the change that lasts. That's the phoenix rising out of the ashes. So stop thinking that you're working from the outside in. You cannot change your circumstances to change your outlook. You have to change your outlook to change your circumstances. Bottom line. It's a very backwards way of thinking. It's very backwards to what we've been taught, backwards to what we think, because we can't see ourselves, right? We can't see inside ourselves. If we could see all that, it would make more sense, but we can't. So, stop deceiving. Stop deceiving yourself and understand that your growth, your evolution starts with you on the inside and works its way out. Okay? We are going to get a soul truth card to give us some advice for today. So, it was kind of a necessary message. I was going to say kind of a heavy message, but I think it's necessary because it's easy to forget. It's easy to get caught in these societal ways of thinking, because really, just because the majority of the people in the world believe a certain thing doesn't make it true. Just saying. So, can I get some advice to go with this reading today? Advice for today. Mushu is having a field day out there, huh? Advice for today. He's been barking all night. There's something going on. I don't know. Advice for today. One more, and then I'm just going to draw. There we go. Ooh. Sorry, guys. We've got two. Do I know all my strengths, and am I using them? And what else could this mean? Okay, so let's start with the strengths. We all have superpowers, but it's up to us to uncover them. When we live and lead with our strengths, we are able to show up in our zone of genius. This inspires others to do the same. So I think we talked a couple readings ago about your weakness being your superpower. So keep that in mind with this. How can I use one of my soul's gifts today to contribute to this open and ready world? Interesting. Everything that we have, guys, is a gift. No two people in the world are the same, right? You've heard this with the snowflakes and the blah, blah, blahs. But the combination of gifts that you have are very unique to you. So which one of those gifts can you open up today and contribute to the world, right? What can you show? Some compassion? Can you show some radical acceptance? Think about that. What else could this mean? There are always multiple ways to look at every situation. Our first reaction is usually rooted in our fears and limiting beliefs. Look at a situation today by stepping outside of the trigger and ask, what else could this mean? Is there something your soul is calling you to learn in this moment, or is there a pattern that is ready to be broken? Walk in the other person's shoes and see it from their perspective. If it doesn't involve someone else, ask yourself, how is life happening for me right now? I like that it says, how is life happening for me and not to me? They say things happen for you and not to you. I like personally the saying, things happen through you and not to you. Because we do. We channel that energy back to people. Think about it. If somebody flips you off, you're probably going to flip them off back, right? I mean, bottom line, somebody smiles at you, your instinct is to smile back. But some people, if they're smiled at, might flip you off, because that would be rooted in fear and rooted in limiting beliefs. They might believe, well, why is that person smiling at me? What's their motive? What are they trying to get from me, right? That suspicious nature. That suspicion comes from limiting beliefs and fear. When you believe that everyone else is authentic and believe that people don't always try to manipulate you, try to take advantage of you and whatnot, this can leave you a little vulnerable to people who will, but most people won't. You know, there's the few out there that do, but most people won't. And if we can create a situation, create a society really, where the majority of people believe in the innate good in people instead of always being suspicious of their bad, we can change the world. We can turn it upside down. We can get our happily ever after. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. We're going to talk in a minute, and you have a wonderful day. And I don't know why I paused, but yeah, much love and light. Hey guys, how's it going? Tough reading today, but necessary. Like I said, we had the name Jeff. Weird. I don't know where that name jumped into my head, but maybe that name means something to you. I said 20, 40, 60 a couple times. So I don't know that it's necessarily the numbers 20, 40, and 60 as much as it is the span of 20 between the numbers. Okay. Even the Judgment card is the number 20 card. So the number 20 is the biggest numerical thing that I saw in today's reading. I talked about not wanting to change, and Taurus being slow and steady and enjoying the change while it's happening and so forth. And then I said, that's me. And that's when my dog started barking. Well, actually, not my dogs. Mushu started barking. We have to remember, guys, that what's right for us isn't necessarily right for someone else. I've had to learn in my journey that when I give advice, or I'm asked for advice or to help problem solve or whatnot, I offer my suggestions and I share my wisdom, and I always end it with, but that's what worked for me. And it takes the pressure off of the other person to do it a certain way, and it leaves them open to exploring other ideas, right? It takes the box away, if you will. And it's like, okay, so this is one suggestion. What else can we come up with? But just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else. Because, like I said at the end, we're all unique individuals. We all have different gifts. We all have different circumstances. We cannot infinitely say that, you know, if you do A and then you do B, then you're going to get C. Because we all bring a different energy to the variables, if you will. That was weird. I just kind of went into a math thing there, and I was talking about math in the video too. So to speak about math, I guess, and I even mentioned the Fibonacci sequence, and you guys can look up what that means, but math is everywhere. Math is in nature. Math is within us, right? There's sacred geometry and blah, blah, blah. But we never know where any of us is within that sequence. So think about the Fibonacci sequence. The premise of that is it's the result of the two numbers that came before it, right? So 0 plus 1 equals 1. 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals 8. So it builds, right? And that's what happens in our lifetimes, really, is we are a result of what has happened to us, if we allow it to be that way, right? We can take what happened to us and add to what we feel and how we interpret it and how we want to grow from it and get to that next level. Or we can just stay at the level of what's happening to us. So there's that. The dogs really started going crazy when I said, if you don't change, nothing changes. And really, I mean, that's the bottom line of everything. We have to change within ourselves. Otherwise, we're just going to keep seeing the same things over and over again. Some people would say that it's spirit, source, God, creator trying to help you evolve. But I feel like it's more or less a choice. And it's a choice that we don't even know we have, right? We just don't. So there's that. Let's see. I moved the card when I was talking about bad bringing bad. So when you catastrophize, you're probably creating some of that. I talk a lot about the law of attraction. So, you know, if you focus on what could go wrong, then chances are things are going to go wrong. Because you're going to see it that way. It's not that the situation will be any different necessarily, but when your outlook on what happens is a positive one, and you can see the lesson or the wisdom or knowledge or whatever within the situation, then you can literally transmute a bad situation into something good. So it's all depends on your outlook. Talked about fighting the current. And when I was listening to the video again, I was thinking the current in the video was like the water, right? The current of the river. But what if the current is the present moment? Where are you at currently? And are you fighting against it? Are you trying to fight against who you truly are? Are you fighting against what's going on right now by anxiously worrying about the future, or in a depressive way, ruminating about the past? Stay in the current, stay in the present. And then when I started talking about deceiving yourself, which I kind of moved to that card rather quickly. But when I was talking about that, then Mushu literally lost his mind. And I went on a whole tangent about deceiving yourself and whatnot. And so definitely go back and listen to that one part again. There was too much that he was barking at for me to kind of pull it all together for you. But if you are gaslighting yourself, if you are deceiving yourself, then that is your outlook, and that will become your reality. So don't do that. Just don't do that. Yeah, there wasn't really too much today, so I'm gonna leave it there. But we'll do another reading here soon to see if the energies change. This is just a little reminder maybe that things got to grow. Things got to change. I talked about having a new semester, creating a new schedule, a new routine. And you have to get used to that, right? You have to make that the current, make that the norm, make that a habit, I guess, if you will. And then, you know, in 12 weeks, when you're finally comfortable with all that, it's going to change again. So what is it? The only certainty is uncertainty. The only thing that doesn't change is the fact that things change. So think about a few of those paradoxes. I think it was funny, I said in the video, I used the word paradox inappropriately, and I caught myself, but I have been thinking a lot about paradoxes lately. We were talking yesterday about the paradox of the grandfather. Go look that one up. That'll keep you up at night. But if you come up with any I don't know, academic insight into that paradox, definitely let me know. But short of that, I guess, guys, I'm gonna get my day started, and you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Much love and light.